মানব আসে রে, ওই মহামানব আসে। দিকে দিকে রোমাঞ্চ লাগে, মর্ত ধুলির ঘাসে ঘাসে রে, ওই মহামানব আসে। সুরলোকে বেজে ওঠে শঙ্খ, নরলোকে বাজে জয় ডঙ্ক, এলো মহাজনমের লগ্ন। আজি অমরাত্রির দুর্গ তরণ যত থলি তলে হয়ে গেল ভগ্ন রে, ওই মহামানব আসে রে, ওই মহামানব আসে।
19th century Bengal, the crown of British rule in India. Since the fall of Bengal Sultanate with the defeat of Nawab Siraj-ud-Dawla to British army in the Battle of Plassey in 1757, the trajectory of the political and social history of the province had undergone a paradigm shift. One of the fundamental changes is the European intervention in traditional native life and culture, the reflection of which was found in the beginning of modern European education in English language. Among the metropolis, Calcutta was the heart, so as the impact of European culture on the native Calcuttans. The pre-British Bengal was submerged in Brahminical caste system, and based on this system, religious and social marginalization of millions of majority people who, in popular phrase, were called Nichu Jat, lower caste. The three so-called privileged castes, Brahmins, Kayasthas and Vaidyas, not only subjugated the Bahujans, but also monopolized all social, cultural and material resources, thus depriving the Bahujans in all walks of life, especially their right to education. With the arrival of foreign rulers, who were quite unfamiliar with the law of Manu in non-Muslim society at large, the European ideas of equality and justice penetrated deeper into the native lifestyle. The impact of European education, administration and legal system had shaped the native lifestyle in two opposite poles: urban reforms, rural reforms. Urban reforms germinated in Calcutta and rural reforms in many rural centers. One of them is a place called Orakandi in the district of Faridpur, East Bengal. In a caste-ridden society dominated by Brahmins, the practice of untouchability prevailed with glory and religious certification. Among the castes that were tagged untouchables was Namo or Chandal, as administrative archives recorded these words. The Chandals and Namos at certain point of time rebelled against social and cultural oppression. To historicize their cultural, social and political emergence, the year 1812 is the formal beginning of what is popularly known in Bahujan historiography of Bengal as the Namashudra Andolon or Namashudra movement, that in many ways shaped the Bahujan movement of Bengal and defined the religious and cultural landscape of the region. Born in 1812 as Haridas Biswas, who later on was revered as Guruchand Thakur, the Namashudra movement took a definitive shape under his leadership. Harichand launched an anti-Brahminical religious movement around 1840s and named it Motwa Dharma Andolon or Motwa religious movement. Religious reform was the primary concern, and Harichand secured a distinct religious identity for millions of Namo people who did not have any religious identity and right in Brahmin-dominated Bengal. This religious reform shaped their social reform in the second half of 19th century. Harichand died in 1878, and there came his son Gurucharan, who took hold of the caravan of his great father. Born in 1846 at Orakandi, the heart of inter-religious and cultural movement, Gurucharan emerged to his fellow people as their great patriarch after his father. From around 1880 till his death in 1937, Gurucharan shaped his father's religious movement into social and political movements. Gurucharan led not only fellow Namo caste, but also many other Bahujan castes who were the victims of Brahminism. One of his major achievements was education reform in countryside, that remained far away from the prosperous city of Calcutta. He understood the importance of education as well as the Brahminical conspiracy of depriving the Bahujans from learning. He started his education reform in villages by setting up schools. It is surprising that he chose sometimes courtyard, sometimes kitchen, and more astonishingly, sometimes cowshed of different households as the place of schools. He was assisted by South Australian Baptist missionary Cecil Silas Mead. He encouraged his fellow marginalized people to get educated. He taught them the importance of human dignity and respect. He consolidated his father's religion on the basis of education and progress in lifestyle. His life and work has been poetically kept on record by a great poet, Mahananda Haldar. It is known as Sri Sri Guruchand Charit, or narrative of life and work of Guruchand Thakur. From the reading of selected excerpts of Guruchand Charit, we come to know how encompassing and inclusive his social and cultural thoughts were. The year 1880 is considered to be the formal beginning of Guruchand's leadership. It began with founding a primary school at Chaudhary House. In 1881, the first great and successful community conference was organized in the house of Mr. Iswar Gayan at Dattodanga, Khulna. It was a historic time when Governor General Lord Ripon already initiated legal, electoral, and educational reform in India. It can be said that Lord Ripon's reforms of British India and Guruchand Thakur's educational and social reforms of marginalized Bahujans are two social phenomena that changed the entire fate of the respective subjects. In 1893, Dr. Cecil Silas Mead arrived at Faridpur as a representative of South Australian Baptist Mission. It was the beginning of what can be called the Guruchand era. Panchanan Sarkar, a Rajbangshi from North Bengal, became the first graduate of Bahujan Society of Bengal in 1893. Raicharan Lal Sardar, a Poundro from South Bengal, became a graduate in 1900. Shyam Lal Sarkar, a Namo from East Bengal, became a graduate in 1902. The year 1907 was the culmination of Guruchand's education reform. 1 year before, the Lieutenant Governor of Bengal, Lancelot Hare, visited Orakandi Thakurbari. Guruchand, with the help of Dr. Mead, welcomed the governor and provided him with cordial hospitality. In 1907, Guruchand, through the intermediary of Dr. Mead, appealed Lancelot Hare to provide government jobs to fresh educated products of his society. The 1907 Proportional Representation of Communities in Public Employment Act, East Bengal and Assam, was the first official authorization that secured the demands of depressed classes. Shashi Bhushan Thakur, Tarini Bal, Kumud Bihari Mallik, Radhanath Mandal, Siddheshwar Haldar, and many others got government jobs. In 1908, with the help of Dr. Mead, the first English high school was laid down that got the affiliation of Calcutta University in 1911. In 1909, the first school for girls was established. By 1911, there were 522 doctors and 192 teachers serving their respective duties to the Bahujan Society of Bengal. By 1931, there were 784 gazetted and non-gazetted posts occupied by educated representatives of Bahujan Society of Bengal. The literacy rate increased from 1.1% in 1911 to 6% in 1931. Among the notable political representatives were Pramod Ranjan Thakur, Mukund Bihari Mallik, Bhishma Dev Das, and Jogendrath Mandal. All of them were the fresh harvests of Guruchand's education reform among the Bahujans of Bengal. His dedicated service laid down the foundation of a Bahujan Renaissance in rural Bengal. In this way, he emerged among his fellow people as Gurudev, the great Guru. He is widely acknowledged as their beloved teacher. He passed away at the age of 90 in Orakandi Thakurbari in 1937, thus leaving behind an imperishable legacy to modern Bahujans of Bengal.
On the eve of Teachers' Day, I pay my homage to Guruchand Thakur. In recent times, Bahujan studies has become the well-known subject and a unique study in the terms of literature, history, sociology, philosophy, theology, politics, and above all film. Many of these practices have spread beyond the boundaries of language, just as in different parts of India. In the same way, this study is also growing in Bengal. There is a beginning to all the happenings around us, just as everything has a historical juncture. So the study of Bahujan in Bengal is no exception. The traditional Bahujan studies in today's Bengal, where writers, researchers, poets, playwrights of the titles of Bishwas, Mandal, Tikadar, Malakar, Dash, Ruidash, Mahato, Murmu, etc. are engaged in intellectual and creative exercise. The earliest beginnings and development took place in the 19th century with the introduction of modern education in the multi-ethnic society of Bengal led by Christian missionaries. A revolutionary event in the history of Bengal Bahujan is the Australian Baptist Dr. Cecil Silas Mead's arrival in 1893 among the Chandal or Numma community and initiating modern education as the main leader of Guruchand Thakur's educational movement for 28 years till 1921. So, in search of the history in the study of Bahujan in Bengal, it is necessary to study the revolution of thought and education that took place in the so-called illiterate society during the stay of Cecil Silas Mead in Gopalganj and Faridpur. In other words, if the Nama people are one of the most progressive people in the study of Bahujan in Bengal, then the spread and influence of this modern education is in creating a stepping stone to their progress. And the foundation of this modern education was laid by Guruchand Thakur under the supervision of Cecil Silas Mead. During his stay in Orakandi, Faridpur, in East Bengal, Dr. Cecil Silas Mead records his experience in the book of the Namashadras and other addresses. It was impossible for Dr. Mead to baptize the people of Mutua community in Faridpur. However, Mead's friendship with Guruchand Thakur enlightened the innumerable people and many societies in the light of education. Guruchand Thakur's visionary zeal laid the foundation of this modern education. Guruchand realizes that education is the only way to liberate the people of Bahujan community.
Education is a powerful weapon for empowering a person in Bahujan society. The harbinger of education in Bengal province is Guruchand Thakur. He is the first teacher for us who advocated education amongst the Bahujan castes. He emphasized on the issue that being a Namashudra was not only his identity, rather he expressed his concern for education for all the downtrodden people of this Bahujan society. He pleaded to all the parents to educate their children even in empty stomach. According to Guruchand Thakur, women's education is most important because woman is the source of literacy in family life, and that's why the liberation comes true. So he encouraged women to be educated. There are so many evidences that Guruchand Thakur inspired women education and empowerment.
The importance of Guruchand Thakur's education movement is quite phenomenal, and there are many claims that Guruchand Thakur established many schools, and sometimes the number is above 3,000. But despite the debates over the numbers of schools, what is more important is that one man who started his education movement right from rural Bengal, and as it is recorded in the Guruchand Charit, that he asked the household members to open schools even in the courtyard, in the cowshed. So, practically speaking, we may not find that sort of concrete structure of the schools, but it is by reading the Guruchand Charit, especially some of the important sections, then we can certainly say that this man dedicated entire 90 years of his life for promoting education among those people who have been denied the rights to education. Today, as a young scholar, the importance of Guruchand Thakur to me is paramount. It is not simply the fact that we are inheriting his labor and we are the successors of the seeds he sowed in the plowed land, but it is more important to understand that how in our contemporary time we can make his all ambitions, all aspirations, all dreams fulfilled. Speaking about the contemporary West Bengal, when higher education has been at the pocket of Brahmins and other Manuvadi castes, very often we see the problems that the scholars of the Bahujan society are actually facing. In the PhD interview, we know the process of discrimination, that they intentionally keep the reserved seats vacant. They say that they do not find any suitable reserved category students, and we know the politics behind it. that they don't want to include the eligible candidates from reserved categories into PhD programs so that they could not represent the higher education. Guruchand Thakur actually thought of representing the entire Bahujan community at large in higher education. Today, when we see this institutional casteism in West Bengal, especially in higher education, in colleges and universities, we feel that Guruchand Thakur's initiatives not only revolutionary but very relevant nowadays. We have to read Guruchand Charit, understand what he actually wanted to do, so that in our contemporary time, when institutional casteism has been raging its flame, we can find some sort of a solution.
On the eve of Teachers' Day, if we like to say about Guruchand Thakur, we need to understand the Motua socio-religious movement in late 19th and 20th century Bengal. Now, in India, Hindu society since later Vedic period divided into four divisions, four varnas: Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudras, and in various avarna or outcast and untouchable, which are not of fourfold varna system. But in Bengal, there were not very evident social division like four varnas. Here, Hindu society who divided into two segments like Brahmins and Shudra. The Shudra were treated as mixed caste or divided into three: Sat Shudra, Asat Shudra, Antojo or Adham Shankara. The so-called Chandals or Namashudra formed a major part of Bengali Hindu society. According to census 1911 and 16%, and in 1931 they were 18% total of Hindu population in Bengal. Mainly farmer, boatmen live in marshy land of Jashore, Khulna, Mymensingh, Faridpur and Dhaka. Though they were numerically largest caste group in East Bengal, here the Hindu society treated as Ajalochal or untouchable, socially treated as depressed and economically exploited by the upper caste Jamindar. The Hindu or other upper caste people did not take water from their hands, were not allowed to enter the Hindu society or Hindu temple and toll or pathshala. Even 19th century Bengal Renaissance, the social and religious reform movements were namely mainly urban centric and confined within the higher caste elite society, did not barely touch the lower caste communities or rural Bengal, in particular in East Bengal. With the establishment of British colonial rule in Bengal, the fundamental caste system within the Hindu society got sharp-jack. Caste on the basis of economy, class on the basis of social status began to diverge. Under these circumstances, the Namashudra society from mid-19th century under Guruchand Thakur, born in 1812, and his son Guruchand Thakur, the Motua religious movements and reforms were initiated and gradually developed or spread all entered the 20th century. The Namashudra and other lower caste were influenced with that reforms and were visible sign in dynamic change in their society, culture and politics. Actually, Guruchand Thakur propagated the Motua movement, a wide scale of socio-religious and educational movement and intellectual political arena. He also supported women's education and the equal status as per equal status of the society through the female. Religious and family matter also introduced or articulated by the Guruchand Thakur. He says that education is only path of salvations. So it is a matter of fact that only Guruchand Thakur said that education would open the gates to the new world of platform, which would beginning further social uplifting responsibility, and no matter they had food or not, the Namashudra must be educated within the children. So he was the real teacher of the downtrodden, and the educational and consciousness of the matter of the leader inspired the Namashudra. As a result, slowly but gradually spread the education among the Namashudras. As per the census in 1991 on, 3.3% of Namashudra were literate, but in 1921 it rose and spreading the circumstance and propagated by the Motua leaders, and consciously the matters role of education among the Namashudra are increased and 21.02% in 1941 from 33.3% in 1991. It is amazing and astonishing, and in 2001 the literacy rate among the Namashudra in West Bengal reached in 7.1.93%. It is fabulous, and the achievement is only for the Guruchand Thakur. I told earlier that he was a teacher of this community for articulating or unifying this community, and he started uplifting meeting or Uttoloni Shobha or Hari Shobha, formed Ramashudra Welfare Society in Horakandi, Faridpur, Dhaka, and local areas. And in 1902 Motua Mahasangha was established formally, and in 1915 formally the Motua Mahasangha spread this type of consciousness among the Namashudra for associating the organization of uplifting meeting, and it established in 22 districts unit among the Bengal in this time. First time the important demand was respectable Namashudra name in 1911, recognized by the census authority in the place of hated name Chandala. It was it was not just as a census operation or the function of census operation, but it was a wider socio-religious cultural dimension for the identity formation of Namashudra. Guruchand Thakur played a important role, and that is why we may understand, or we may treated Guruchand Thakur as our original teacher.
তুমি রবে নীরবে হৃদয়ে মম, তুমি রবে নীরবে নিবিড় নিভৃত পূর্ণিমা নিশীথিনী সম।